from it, like, yeah.
Awesome. We
All
are
right.
live.
I'm here, right? Oh yeah, I see. And how to use technology. From it, like.
Welcome to our first ever YouTube live.
I'm so excited.
Awesome. I know.
Are you hearing
here,
the?
right?
Oh, yeah, I have technology. From it, like. Sorry, guys, I don't know how to use technology, it turns out, but I had it live in my browser. So I was hearing the feedback from us talking live. But I'm so excited, Devika, that you finally convinced me to do this. I've been very resistant to anything live because God only knows what I will say. For better or worse.
Our mission is to be live and transparent and, really be there for our community. And I think being live and being, like keeping a documentational side is a very good way to build that really authentic relationship with the community. So thank you so much for doing this. And this series is called Building Unblocked. So we're going to talk about like all the good stuff that's happening, all the bad stuff that's happening, all the things that we're excited about, all the things that we're concerned about. But as like just a person, I wanted to know, why and how did you want to even start Unblocked in the first place? Keeping money aside, keeping success aside, like you as a woman, what prompted you to start Unblocked?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a female entrepreneur. I am very much a girl's girl. I can hang with the guys, but women are near and dear to my heart as a woman. And again, as a female entrepreneur. My last company that I was at there for 7 years and on the founding team was one of the largest female digital lifestyle companies. And frankly, I didn't really ever think about anything kind of in a linear way as it pertains to men versus women. But about 6 months ago, I started to learn about NFTs, and I got really excited by nature of my background, the way I was understanding the technology. And it was before things had blown up and, we were seeing what we're seeing in the space today. I knew if I was understanding the technology correctly, i.e. we had the ability to append a unique digital identifier to any digital asset, and it gave it proof of ownership and all these superpowers, it was going to fundamentally change the world in so many ways, especially the digital landscape. And my background is in product development and digital media and content creation. And so my brain immediately went to a place of the modern day internet's powered by content, who creates it, individual contributors, and they really are kind of getting screwed, a lot of them, from an ownership and monetization standpoint. And I thought this could be a solution. So it got me jazzed, but I wasn't sure if I was understanding it correctly. And I spent the following few weeks diving into understanding the underlying technology, i.e. blockchain, understanding smart contracts, and I got more and more excited. But I also observed that it was such a male-dominated space, and it's shifted a little bit for the better. But, it's intersection of technology and economics or finance, so it makes sense, but I was really turned off by that. So we had the passion of this technology and the excitement and the conviction that this blockchain technology is going to rewire our world at large. And then seeing a lot of kind of disgusting behavior, frankly, at that time from dudes in the space. And I got really passionate about figuring out how we could get more women into this ecosystem to ultimately be part of building the future, just because I sometimes think that people, especially women, don't realize how much technology permeates every part of our lives. And I didn't want to see history repeat itself yet again, i.e. new financial systems and or technology that was going to power our lives be designed by a bunch of guys when 50% of the world is women. And we have more and more women becoming entrepreneurs and in the workforce and in positions of power. We're making so much progress. So in my opinion, it's just so vital that we make sure we have a seat at the table and are part of building it and the decisions behind how it all scales. And ultimately, I want to make sure that women are capitalizing off of this. There's a lot of money to be made. We've seen that to date with crypto specifically, and it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. Facebook with the launch of or the rebrand of Meta just proves that this Web3 isn't going anywhere. And I want to make sure female creators and women at large can be part of it and make money. So that's my why. And it's been really exciting to see more women get into the space. And at Unblocked, our whole mission is really to figure out how do we educate women from a content standpoint and create a container and tools for them that are designed for them. Because I think that was part of the problem early on and still a little bit to date. A lot of women don't think they're excited or interested in blockchain or crypto or NFTs because the applications are stuff that, like myself, they're not super excited about. And it's kind of heady stuff, but when you break it down and try to describe it to someone like you would to your mother or your child, anyone can understand it. And that's kind of what we continue to see the more we connect with women and build our community, when we explain it to them in a way that it is digestible to them and then contextualize it in a way that's relevant for their life or their profession. They start to get excited and engaged and start to, for themselves, proactively think about how they can leverage all this new technology in a way to better protect their work or make money or whatever it may be.
Yeah, that's amazing. And would you say, I feel like people connect with each other much better on sharing each other's pains. So, we being there for like women specifically, would you say, did you ever have any like personal experience where you felt like being at a disadvantage just because you were a woman, and that is something that really sparked a fire in you?
That's a great question. So am I breaking up on your end, or am I
No. Am I breaking up?
You're breaking up a little bit, but it seems like it's better. So I feel really grateful that I was raised by a mother and father. My mother was had a very successful career. And I was raised to, for a very young age, believe that I could do anything and be anyone, and always was treated. I didn't even know the concept of not having being the same as a boy, from an opportunity standpoint. Obviously, the older I get, the more gratitude I had towards that, and realized that is not the case for everyone. As I entered my career, early on in my career, I was in much larger, more corporate environments. And yeah, I certainly dealt with things where my male counterpart, even though I was doing a great job and getting great reviews, got the promotion before me. That guy became one of my best friends. He still is to this day. So I ended up knowing what his compensation was. He was making 10 grand more than me. I dealt with some really disgusting behavior at holiday parties from certain very senior dudes. But all that to be said, there are plenty of women that have had it 1,000 times worse than me. But I think almost all of us in some capacity have dealt with it. And that's something I really, really hope we can change. And I think change so often starts with just awareness, honesty, and having the conversation around it. And I feel really hopeful because I do think we are starting to actually talk about it in a much bigger way as women. And there feels like there's more support for each other than ever before. So I'm hopeful that we'll continue to see that change, but I think it's going to take some time.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yes. I feel like as much as we talk about how powerful it is to be a woman, and we are super loud about like all the good stuff, all the optimistic stuff, but sometimes I feel like I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I realized that we whisper the bad stuff, and so many times we don't communicate if something happened to us personally, because we think, how are people going to see me? Am I gonna, lose my image? And why do we have to worry about when it was not even our fault, when someone else might do something, like try to, like you mentioned, bad behavior, or, make you uncomfortable. Why does it become our secret? Why is it's not their secret? So what would you say is your perspective on all of us, like, just, I don't know, being transparent or really sharing each other's pain points and being very vocal about what kind of behavior is good and what kind is not? Because it is difficult being a woman. If you want a seat at the table, you want to climb the ladder, it is inevitable that you go through some unpleasant experiences.
Totally. And I think it's inevitable in life, right? Like you got to go, life is all about contrast, and you have to go through the hard times and the sticky times to figure out what you don't want, to figure out what you do want. And I think that spectrum, it's such a loaded question that I love so much, but I think it kind of all starts with, and this I think rings true to all relationships, and it is one of the secrets of life. You got to get really clear on who you are and what makes you tick, and so you can understand what are you comfortable sharing based on the experience that you are going through in this life. And then I think you can also show up as your most authentic self. So I'm in my mid-30s, and I couldn't agree more. There's so much that there's been, even for myself, I'm an open book. You know me because we have been working together for a few weeks now. It could have been months. Again, what is time? But the more I observe myself, there's things that I haven't shared with my closest friends. And I've been wondering why, because I am not embarrassed, but you're right. We keep it so close to the chest. And I've been figuring out when being patient with myself with when are you comfortable? You can give yourself time and space to be ready to share whatever that thing is. So getting clear on when that is, when that timing is, and then just, every day I'm trying to show up as my most honest self. And I've been thinking a lot about social media and how we show up there, because we show the pretty things, right? And that's part of the reason that we wanted to talk about building this business, as you know, is it's fucking hard. It's hard having a business. It's hard being a woman today, regardless of your age, if you have children. If you don't, we wear so many hats. We are so dynamic. And I don't think any of us would want that any other way. But I think we have to share, when we're comfortable with it, the things that the ugly, not even the uglier sides, but the harder moments, because that's what makes other people feel comfortable to share, and or just to know that someone else is going through it. I did a huge purge with my social media feed recently, because I'm really only trying to find people that light me up or bring value, and curate my feed in that way. But it's been really helpful, because the more I curate it, the more that I'm following people that they're talking about stuff that they're going through, and I'm following them in this moment for the exact reason that I am meant to be. And just knowing that people that seem like they have it all together and have, these multiple million, 6-7 figure businesses, whatever it is, that they too have hard days, has been helpful for me. And I think that I think that's true to all of us. But I certainly don't have this one all figured out either. I think and having people, surround yourself with friends and people that make you feel good, that that lift you up and help you be better. I think that's also wildly helpful, especially as a woman, whether it's a peer that's a mentor, or someone a little older, or your mom or your grandmother. Just being able to talk about it with someone that is going to give you sound advice and just makes you literally energetically feel good, and being okay kind of saying goodbye to the rest.
Yeah. Thanks.
Again, not easy. It's such a work in progress. And a lot of these things are lessons that I'm currently working through, as you can probably tell with how I'm speaking to it. It's a work in progress, but that's all you can do.
Thanks for being honest. And I think it's really important to even initiate that conversation, and even initiate that self-reflection, because sometimes, we really bury deep inside our emotions that we don't want to deal with. And it's really comforting and powerful, actually, to really learn how to heal from them. And I wanted to ask you, what are, building Unblocked as a company, what are you most excited about personally? What are personal points that you've seen growth in? What have you been excited in? Have you felt powerful? Not from the technology standpoint, but from a personal standpoint. What are you excited about?
Two big ones that come to mind immediately. One is that I have always been on teams. I am so grateful for my last job that I'm so proud and grateful of the team I built, the team I worked with, and I loved going to work every day because of the people for almost 7 years. And then I started my own consulting business, and I've been a solo entrepreneur for almost 2 years now. And I have been I've been missing brilliant women and people around me and team and collaboration. I am a collaborator through and through. I believe the best things are built when you have all the brains coming at it together and everyone feels safe and honest, sharing their opinion, and can productively work through whatever it is to build the thing that will add the most value or the most impact. And I'm finally building an army and a squad around me, and I just adore every single one of them the most. And I've literally been buzzing the last few weeks as I slowly continued to find the right people. And it's been really challenging finding the right women to hire at this point because this technology is so emerging. And I have so many brilliant women I've worked with, and they're my biggest cheerleaders, and they love the mission, but they just they're not excited about the space yet, which I understand, but you can't force that. And I've just been trying to surrender, and I'm telling myself the universe will deliver the right women. And slowly but surely, Devika is one of them, coming into my orbit. And since that's happened, it's continuing to grow leaps and bounds. And that's one. And the other is, it feels really good again to have so much excitement and passion and the right intentionality and purpose behind what I'm building and my profession. Again, I was so lucky that I worked at a successful startup, went through a successful acquisition, and felt like I was part of building that thing, and loved going to work every single day, as I said. And that I don't take for granted. I've had enough jobs, enough experience to know that that's not always the case, and that is totally okay as well. And then my consulting business, I'm so proud of what I've built, and grateful for all the clients I've worked with that have given me the opportunity. But my heart isn't in that business. I'm still taking on some clients, and that's okay too. But I just feel so strongly about Unblocked, what we're building, and I always say to myself and now my team, our North Star is, how can we make the most impact for the group that we are speaking to and building with the most amount of ease? Not because we want to stray away from hard work, but because arguably that's how we can make the biggest impact in the shortest amount of time. And I'm having fun doing it. And I love, the last that I thought of is, I love building things. I love fixing things. And I had been a little bit bored with kind of technology. I thought I was so over the product side of stuff, and just wasn't a nerd anymore. And I am just loving the disruption and innovation that this new technology is allowing for. And I'm having fun figuring out exactly how we can put all the pieces together to build all the different things and initiatives that we're talking about, and seeing how it all unfolds.
Amazing. Love seeing this personal side of you. I don't think you've ever shared, why are you personally so involved and so motivated behind it. It is really, really special. And, like the company's backbone is, you bet on the jockey, which is the person running it, like your heartbeats in it. Super exciting to learn that. And what would you say are some personal concerns now that you've been running Unblock for a past few months now? What are pain points that you're experiencing personally?
So, oh God, Devika, we're gonna be here all day. No, just kidding. So one of the hardest things, this comes, I think, with entrepreneurship in general, that's been the hardest for me, is the peaks and valleys that innately come with it. And I've gotten so much better navigating that, but you almost have to kind of like rewire your nervous system to recalibrate, to handle those highs and lows. It's, as someone that's very pretty type A, working through being a control freak, but likes to have control over situations, is very structured. You have to learn to go with the flow. I'm going to get surrender tattooed on my body at some point in my life. I don't know if I really will, but I'm trying to really just trust that everything happens how it should, but that doesn't come naturally to me at all. So that's been one challenge. And there's weeks where I think I'm like, I've figured it out, I'm past it. And then, I quickly learned that's not the case. The other that's been really challenging is hiring has been challenging, but that I think now that I've found this foundational team and we're getting more and more clear on exactly what we're building and our roadmap. That seems to be something that's flowing with much more ease. So hopefully, I don't think you're ever through the woods with hiring, especially if you keep growing. Best case we do, but one day at a time. And the last thing has been building a business alongside technology that is so new and unfolding at a rapid pace. I haven't done anything professionally where I need to build in time to learn and research. You always have to do that with some new projects and in some capacity, but this is just, if you're in this space, you are an early adopter, and no one knows what the consolidation is going to look like, so it's tricky. Early on, one of the first things that the plan was to build a decentralized application, build a platform. And I spent quite a lot of time and energy looking for developers and planning it. And that's still on our roadmap, but I want to be thoughtful and observe and be really smart, not building something, knowing that's, in a year, I might not need to build my own product. We might just be able to use different existing technologies and protocols to integrate things to achieve the same desired outcome. So our whole strategy is setting everything up, the whole framework of this business in a very kind of like phase modular way that is super agile, so we can have incubate a series of MVP projects, initiatives, tools to test them with our audience, garner insights and learn, iterate and scale. And we're figuring it out, but it's been hard. There's been lots of recalibrations because, again, the space is moving and changing so fast, and we're learning a lot, which is causing us to need to slightly pivot, which I wouldn't change it any other way. I wouldn't have it any other way. I feel so strongly that this is the right strategy, but it has been challenging for sure. And it's hard. You spend so much time. I've done 100 versions of my pitch deck. I have so many docs on projects that we're so close to let's go and we can start running with it. But I've hit walls with that because I'm like, this is annoying. Did I just waste 3 weeks doing this? But nothing is a waste of time. And again, everything's come together and we have such clarity now, but that's been what the first 3 or 4 months of this business have looked like in a lot of ways. And amazing. Growing Instagram is really annoying and hard if you don't throw money at the problem. And I'm pretty sure you're shadow banning me, Zuck. Just kidding. I'm actually not, but we won't talk about Mark Zuckerberg and Meta today.
Oh my God. This was a treasure. I feel like we're going to look back at this and really, really treasure these moments, how we're probably a button click away, and how we have to, create roadmaps and do so much things. But that is why documentation is important as hell, in a month, we'll see what our progress has been. So, super excited and passionate about, getting into these details and stuff. And on the last note, would you have any message that you would like to share after the theme of today's live?
This is so cliche, but life is fucking short. Do you be unapologetically you and surround yourself again with people that make you feel good and things that light you up. don't live on other people's terms. And I say this especially to my younger lady friends, because it's something that it sounds almost so extreme when someone gives that advice. And for me in my 20s, it was never extreme. I was never like, if you said this to me if I said this to my 20s, I'd been like, shut the fuck up. I am like, I like what I'm, whatever. But I was in so many ways giving other people so much energy, losing sleep over things that I couldn't even tell you about a year later, let alone 5 years later. And there's so much beauty in, again, getting so clear on who you are and curating the life that's best for you. And with the modern day internet, there's so many ways to make money, and that's going to increase tenfold with Web3. So figure out, get clear on the value you add to the world and lean into it and try to build a career around it so you can do whatever you want, or go work at a corporate job and climb the ladder if that is what you want to. Just know who you are and run with it, and don't fucking look back, and the sooner you can not give a fuck what anyone thinks, the better off you will be, I swear. And again, another lesson I'm going through now, and I finally feel like I'm starting not to care, and I'm sure I'll be a work in progress, but it's so liberating and so powerful. And I wish that for everyone. I wish everyone to get to that point as soon as they can on their journey.
Amazing. And how wholesome. Yes.
Oh, so wholesome. Just a wholesome mom over here.
No, it's really important to hear, these can seem really cliche and simple, but coming from someone who's been through like real life experiences, reiterate those same simple points, coming back to those prime points. Yeah. It's important, and it's important to hear again and again and again. So thank you so much for sharing that and bringing it up.
And thank you for you're an example. I've been blown away by the younger women like Devika that have come into my orbit that are in their early 20s that are, you are leaps and bounds ahead of me at 22, and you're doing a lot of that. And I've loved to see Gen Z sometimes someone said Zoomers to me recently, and I love it so much, the Zoomers. But they, in some ways, get a bad rap for being a little bit bratty, but I think they are vocal and they know what they want. And as long as you're doing it, again, in a way that's productive and diplomatic, if you need to be, I love just seeing them fucking run. Like, I read a stat, I think last week, that it was like 20% of Gen Zs have started their own venture funds, which, like, that's fucking amazing. Someone needs to save the world that the fucking boomers left us. But before we go, I'd love to hear, you've been working with Unblocked now, and we've been working together for probably 4 weeks. I mean, we first did the interview probably 3 months ago now, maybe 4, but what are you most excited about as it pertains to what we're building, and what have you loved the most and or found the most challenging?
I think first, it's again really cliche, but I love the team. I feel a huge sense of comfort. I was actually speaking with a friend of mine and how people say that, you need to be really like rough, tough when you're building a business. But I've seen how respectful and kind you are, even interacting with someone who's so much younger than you. That makes me like acknowledgement, and that makes me want to work harder. It makes me want to deliver more. Like, I'm like, I want to be the best I can be and deliver more than I'm expected to, just because of how you respond and how you treat people around you. So that has been one of like the very big motivational factors. And it's like, working at a company like that, I feel like my expectations are just so much higher. I know like the real world is not like that, but it gives you a very good example of how kindness actually leads to much more productive output than, being like really rough, tough and things like that. So that's been a very big treasure to me. What's been challenging again is, I think I'm making myself learn, and it's not challenging. It's actually like a great opportunity for me. Like, there's so many things I didn't know how to do, but because I was given the responsibility, I would watch 10 hours of YouTube videos and put in 1 hour executing that, So that's helped me grow a lot. And that's not challenging at all. It's definitely, I feel like anyone who's in like the Web3 world is going through that. You really need to study, learn, observe, and then execute. You know what I'm saying?
And I think challenge, I've been thinking so much about the power of words, because for a lot of different reasons, and I won't go down all those rabbit holes, but like one of my ahas is that there's certain words that have a negative connotation, and you just did it. Like, you justified using the word challenging, but challenging isn't bad, right? And we all are guilty of doing that, especially as women, but it just makes you stronger. And also we'll do another live on the shift of the dynamic of masculine and feminine energies in the workplace and all that jazz. Please, yeah. But it's because I could get deeper for a while, but I think we are seeing a collective shift in, especially professionally, things skewing from masculine to feminine. And that's not about sexuality. It's literally just masculine energies tend to be much more go, 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 go. Success is defined by productivity, climbing the ladder, how much you're getting paid, versus a more feminine environment is having more balance, not judging your success based off of the to-do list, what you're getting paid, how many hours you work, and supporting each other, less about competition and being in it alone, and more about working together and collaborating. And I've worked at so many companies where I just feel like sometimes we treat people and jobs like they're straight up children, whether you look at like vacation policies or telling someone they can't do something because they didn't get a degree or because they don't know the skill set of how to edit something and whatever. But anyone can learn anything because you can find anything on the internet. And at the end of the day, we're all fucking adults. So like, if you can't responsibly handle your vacation days, then like you probably shouldn't work at a place that has unlimited vacation, or you should probably deal with your whatever is going on while you can't handle that. Or if you don't want to learn how to use, Premiere to edit a video, that's cool too. Say you don't want to take on that project like an adult, versus like you have the control is my point. And we're adult humans. And that's certainly something that, I'm trying to cultivate, because I've been using the term choose your own adventure so much, and that's it, right? Like, if you want to work from how do we create a professional container where you have this amazing culture, people support each other, but people also have their autonomy and their independence to design their day, their projects in a way that makes sense for their life in that current moment, knowing that life happens in seasons too. Like, it's so whatever. We'll have another conversation again. I shouldn't have gone down that path because I knew I would start just chatting it up. We're closing up. I'm like, let's talk about astrology now and all the witchy things.
It's really important. These are very subtle things that make a difference. Oh my God, that is so cool. What is that the white crystal thing? Is it transparent? Is it white?
It's clear, transparent. It's
damn.
Yeah.
Really?
And this, yeah, I mean, it's just wanted to make sure that I brought good energy, Added some value to this live.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for keeping it so personal, being so honest, and being unafraid to share about your life. That is super powerful and important to everyone watching and everyone around you. Thanks for always being like the best energy in the room.
Thank you. You're the best. I appreciate all your kind words, and it's all the feelings are mutual.
Okay, so I think this is it for our first YouTube live. We're going to go back to this, reflect, and I think we are already on to our second episode, which is going to be the dynamics of the feminine and the masculine energy, what we'll be touching on.
We'll touch on it. We won't get too deep, I'd love to hear what people, especially women, would love us to talk about. If I can answer any questions, or, what do you want us to focus on? The building of the business, being a modern day woman and juggling all these different things and having all these different roles, crystals and feminine and masculine energy, NFTs, let us know. But Devika's just going to tell me to show up and what we're talking about, and then ask me questions, and we're going to see how that goes, and hopefully take some questions from the audience, whoever watches this. Hopefully,
I would love to explore that crystal and astrology side of you. So I think maybe on the second episode, we'll dive into it a little bit more there. And I'm going to look out for any comments that we might have and take in any questions that you guys would want us to discuss. Thank you so much, Dayna, for doing this.
Thanks, Devika.
All right.